Hey.
Hey. So, it's going well. Question for you.
Yeah.
Why is this a 235i if it's got the 4-cylinder?
I know.
That that doesn't make any sense. That's always been the 6-cylinder model.
Yep.
Because there's also a 228i which is also a 4-cylinder.
Yep. Why does it exist?
This is frustrating.
I know. My sentiments exactly.
Huh.
I think they just ran out of numbers. It's just, I don't know. BMW had this platform. They had some parts. They want to make some more money with it. It's not a good product, you know.
Well, I guess we will continue on here.
Carry on.
Hey everyone, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the all-new for 2020 BMW 235 Gran Coupe. Now this is kind of an odd mishmash of cars, because even though it's a 235i, it's coming with a BMW's inline-4 motor, but it's tuned up to 301 horsepower opposed to the lower-tuned inline-4 turbo that's in the 228i. And it's also a different set of powertrains entirely from the 2 Series Coupe and convertible that have the inline 4 and inline 6, but both tuned up in the 30i and 40i designations. And it's also different than what you're getting in the X1 and X2 powertrain variants. So it's a confusing little car. It's fun to drive around, but we really got to talk about what its mission is, where it sort of falls into the BMW lineup, and really who should be buying this, whether they should be better off in a 3 Series or better off in a 228i or better in a 2 Series Coupe or convertible. Anyway, let's get started. Alright, so like I said, this is part of BMW's entry-level 2 Series lineup. But it's new for 2020, and even though it shares the name with the Coupe and convertible 2 Series, it's based on a different platform and is front-wheel drive based rather than rear-wheel drive like the Coupe and convertible. It means it drives very differently, has a different set of powertrains, and actually comes standard with all-wheel drive. So it's really more of an entry-level BMW. If someone comes in and says, I want to lease a BMW, what's the cheapest thing I can get? This is probably going to be it. I'd have to double check lease prices with the X1. X1 might be a little cheaper since it's not brand new like this, but this is kind of the smallest sedan that they've got, and also the cheapest. Now, finding where they cut corners is a little tough, but the overall packaging of the 235i, or just 2 Series Gran Coupe in general, is actually quite good. Look at how low this load floor is. It's about at my knees. If I were lifting something up in here, I almost have to, it's almost like I have to go too far down just to get stuff in. But the trunk is a really good size for this class. You've got some underfloor storage here, although if you had the Space Saver Spare, which is an option, that would be there. And you just have this upward shelf here. You got a little pocket, a little extra storage, and the seats fold quite easily. Pull those, come around over here. Oops. There we go. Pay no attention to the bright red interior. We'll get to that in a moment. You pull that down. Look at that. A nice flat load floor. Easy to fold seats, especially with these headrests that can be folded down like this for easy folding and visibility, or flip up if you've got passengers. So, rear packaging, pretty good. Everything's pretty solid. Get in the back here. Now, this is the entry-level sedan, and you can really feel that in the back seat. I'm 5'10", and my head is hitting the roof. My knees are hitting the seat. I probably wouldn't want to be back here for much more than 20 minutes. I've got a weird incline. I'd probably sit sort of to the side like this, and my back just wouldn't be very comfortable for very long. But little kids should have absolutely no problem, even bigger kids. Pretty much anyone under 5'7" or so. Got some cup holders in the back here. A little center armrest. Everything's really firm in this car. The seats are firm, armrests are firm. It's solid, but just not exactly like plush. Good Sensatec fake leather. BMW always does a good job of that. It's just not exactly soft and inviting. That's kind of the ethos of this whole car. Is it's just it's a little raw, but not like in a good way, because it's not a sports car. I do like these frameless doors though. I don't know, do you guys think this is stylish? I think it's kind of weird looking. I think this is it's like a little overly aggressive. It's like an angry rat. Not exactly pretty, but not ugly either. The interior is really well fit and finished. Even though this is the entry-level model, BMW did not skimp on materials. Start-stop button's good. The shifter feels nice. All these buttons are exactly the same as they are in an 8 Series. So that's really nice to see that all the interior packaging is not modeled down necessarily. And yeah, it's not Alpina B7 levels of wood grain and crystal shifters or anything like that. But it's a nice place to be as long as you can get over the firmness. As for features, this is a $51,000 spec model. Let's take a quick peek at the window sticker. Free paint. You got the premium package, getting you the heated steering wheel, head-up display, a few other things. A lot of standard equipment. They like to sort of tout how much they offer included here, including a lot of the M Sport stuff. You see a ton of M badges, even though this isn't a full M car. So all in, you're looking at $51,295, but the M235i model starts at just over $46,000 after destination. You got that 301 horsepower 2-liter turbo engine, even though they don't list the horsepower on here. What is this one missing that I would put on? The Harman Kardon sound system. This base BMW system is actually quite disappointing. But Harman Kardon systems in BMWs sound really good. I would definitely be spending the money to get into that. All right, let's fire up this motor. Now, I love BMW powertrains. They do an excellent job, and I'm always a big advocate of their 4-cylinders. So it's cool to see this little inline 4 tuned all the way up to 300 horse, because it doesn't feel like a 4-cylinder. I mean, it pulls. And if I put it into sport here, it says M Sport exhaust. Listen to that growl and rumble and the little pops. That's fun. It really is. Okay, let's start in comfort though. Just go for a little drive and talk about the car. So you get the same gauge cluster as you do in larger BMWs. Nice, easy to read dash. You got your digital speed readout. You've got your navigation in the center there. So it's weird because this is like an entry-level-ish BMW, but you're also spending $50,000. So how do you evaluate it? Do you evaluate it as a full-fledged Beamer, or do you evaluate it as the economical play, if you will? I'm going to try to kind of look at it as both. But, spoiler alert, I really think the 228 is where you should be spending your money in this car. I think the 235 is a bit of a weird proposition. We'll talk about that more as we get it on the road here. So this thing is a big single turbo, tuned up to 11. And you really feel that when you try to drive smoothly. So I'm going to come into this corner here. I'm going to take off. I'm just going to try to ease on the throttle. And then the turbo spools up and sort of surges forward. And it's fun when you're driving spiritedly, but not necessarily when you're just trying to putz around town. And these performance tires are very thin. They're 35 aspect ratio tires, and they're loud. There's no getting around that. That's a little disappointing because the rest of the cabin is absolutely rattle-free, Everything feels great, sounds great, no wind noise. And this engine's really quiet once it settles down as well. So all you really hear is tires. I guess there's a little bit of wind noise as well. But once you get onto this pavement, you just hear that road noise. I think this M235i Gran Coupe, depending on how you want to pronounce it, it's a really good example of a car that's really fun to drive but would be really hard to recommend owning. It's a lot of fun to toss around, it makes fun noises, but could you look somebody dead in the eye and say, yeah, this is a good value for $50,000 or $45,000? Especially because in this model, we don't even have heated seats. I don't know who optioned this and then sent it to Michigan without heated seats. Alright, let's hop into sport mode here. BMW's inline 4 is such a great example of not needing anything else. Everyone's like, oh gosh, you got to get the inline 6. I mean, it's just a 4-cylinder. What? You can't settle with that. Oh, you absolutely can. This thing rips. It sounds great. Pulls hard. And it's fun. And it's efficient. And BMW tunes their transmission so well. It's just the 8-speed transmission that you find in everything else. But in comfort mode, it shifts super smooth. And in sport mode, it shifts super raw and aggressive. See my head like getting jerked back on each shift. Let's do a panic stop here from 60. No big surprises there. Now launch control start. Now again, tell me why you need 6 cylinders. Don't get me wrong, BMW's inline 6 is awesome. I'm just saying it's not always necessary. So don't write off the 4. You've got pretty good manual shifting as well. You've got paddle shifters here on the steering wheel, as well as shifting from the center shifter if that's what you're into. And it doesn't shift for you automatically. If you hit that rev limiter, it dies right out. Now, like I said earlier, the standard sound system in this is not great. We're going to be doing a sound system test on this car, so if you're interested in kind of getting more details on the sound system, check out that review. The link will be in the description. Tires sure do grip though. So let's settle it down here at highway speeds. No adaptive cruise control in this model. That is a $1,200 option even on this top spec M235i, sorry. And it cruises okay on the highway. Like I said, it's just those loud tires. And that brings up another point that you kind of overlook when driving aggressively, but I noticed just driving it around town, it's a firm ride, both from the low aspect ratio tires and the M Sport suspension. It's just firm everywhere, and it's hard to kind of drive it smoothly and drive over. I'm not necessarily talking hard impact harshness, that's okay, but sort of those bumps that are just sort of wallows in the road, or sort of up and down imperfections. It really it doesn't unsettle the car, it just translates everything into the cabin, so you find yourself moving a lot, and passengers don't really appreciate it. These kind of bumps here, when I'm driving along doing a review, I don't really notice them too much. I don't mind such a firm ride, but for somebody buying this car, you really need to be committed to kind of living in a sporty car, and that brings me to why this model doesn't make sense. Enthusiasts looking for an enthusiast car usually want to focus on one thing. They either want economy or performance, and they're trying to maximize both of those typically. So in this car, you're not maximizing economy because you're spending at least 45, 46 grand to do so, and you're not maximizing performance because you're only looking at 300 horsepower all-wheel drive, and on top of that, front-wheel drive bias. So what are you really getting? I mean, you're getting kind of this like luxurious but still aggressive sports car, but not overly aggressive. So if you were an enthusiast, why not just go with the rear-wheel drive based coupe, or even convertible if you're into that sort of thing? Or if you're trying to save money, don't go with BMW at all. Get a GTI, get yourself a Honda Civic Si, something like that, something that's front-wheel drive, but at least only costs like $25,000. But if you really want the BMW, if you want the luxury, you want the badge, you want this model, the 2 Series, and you want 4 doors, you want the Gran Coupe, get yourself the 228. It's still a plenty potent motor, but it's not going to have the rawness in both the ride and the transmission and the powertrain as this weird M235i model. So I like it a little better than A3. I like it... I'm trying to think if I like it better. I haven't driven the new CLA Mercedes, but I do like it better than the A series Mercedes, A class. But I just can't recommend this 235i model. It's too weird, it's too expensive, it's not really good at any of its proposed missions. So save yourself some money, get the 228i, or save some money and get the 240i coupe. That's all I can really say. I'd be picking the convertible. I'd either be picking, well, both in the 4-cylinder coupe and convertible, you can still get a manual at no cost, so that's a no-brainer for me. And if you want to get the automatic, it's still good, great. You're getting more power and rear-wheel drive. Backup camera works fine, no surprises. I also should mention that you've got USB Type-C in here, 2 USB ports, Type-C ports in the back, a USB-A right here. This one's got wireless charging, but that's an option. Let's take a quick look at the engine. Here it is, BMW's odd hyper-performance 4-cylinder. It's a great motor, guys. It's just not right in this package. It really isn't. Anyway, if any of you guys can think of a good reason to pick the 235i over a 228 or a coupe, let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'm open to it, and I like driving this car, but it's just really hard to recommend. If you like the review, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a bunch. Check out the sound system review on this base BMW audio system if you'd like to see that, or check out some of our other reviews. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor. Drive on.